Bundesliga Radio. Live.
African football fans, a very warm welcome to the Volkspark Stadium in Hamburg. It's match day 15 of the Bundesliga. It's the last round before the winter break. And the home side, Hamburg, getting ready for the visit of Eintracht Frankfurt. So two Bundesliga heavyweights facing each other this afternoon. And, of course, as usual, we'll be looking at the Bundesliga's African players and especially those on duty at the AFCON. I'm Alex Sisto. Stay tuned for all the action.
And Alex Sisto is here with me, Michael Oti. A very warm welcome from me as well. And as you know, the Bundesliga is in its 63rd season. And there was a very big game last night between the two Borussias, Borussia Dortmund and Borussia Mönchengladbach. And the result was 2-0 in favor of Dortmund, but only after a very, very, very tough fight by Gladbach. Well, today's host, Hamburg, are totally reliant on their home form. As you may have seen, they are unbeaten in their last 3 games at the Volkspark Stadium. But it's away that they have been really, really poor this season. They are at the bottom of the away form table, and they will definitely need a point here today to avoid slipping dangerously down the table.
Indeed, Hamburg, they know they must not get relegated again. Don't forget they spent 7 seasons in Division 2 in Bundesliga 2, and as one of the biggest clubs in Germany, they really just have to remain in Germany's top flight, the Bundesliga. Now, Frankfurt today, the visitors are without Fares Shaibi and Elias Skiri, both players of course, at the African Cup of Nations. So the team sheets are in and time to look at the lineups. Let's start off with the home side, Hamburg. In goal, Daniel Heuer Fernandes. They're playing with a back 3, Nicolas Capaldo, Luka Vuskovic and Jordan Torunariga. He's a German-Nigerian. A 4-man midfield sees William Michelbrensis, the Frenchman, on the right wing, and Miro Muheim, the Swiss player, on the left wing. And the holding midfielders are Albert Sambi-Lokongo and Nikolai Remberg. And the 3 strikers today for HSV for Hamburg are Ryan Philippe, Ransford Königsdorfer, the German Ghanaian, and on the wing, Fabio Balde, the Portugal under-21 player. What about Frankfurt, Michael?
So for the visitors, we've got in the goal today, Michael Zetterer, their chosen and preferred goal stopper. And Frankfurt is playing with a 3-man defensive lineup made up of Aurelien Amenda on the left side, Robin Koch in the middle, and we've got Nnamdi Collins on the right-hand side. And on the wings, we've got Nathaniel Brown on the left-hand side. We've got Rasmus Christensen on the right-hand side. And in the holding midfield position, we've got Mahmoud Daoud and we've got Hugo Lassen. And up top for Frankfurt, we've got Jean-Mathieu Bahoya on the left-hand side and Ritsu Doan, who scored a goal for them last week, on the right-hand side. And striking for Frankfurt, we've got Ansgar Knauf. So this is the shape of the Frankfurt side.
Ansgar Knauf, of course, a German Ghanaian. He's a good striker, but he's not a centre-forward by trade. Don't forget, Frankfurt, they've lost big strikers. Hugo Ekitike joining Liverpool, Omar Marmoush joining Manchester City, and, of course, Johnny Burkhardt, the man they brought from Mainz, he's injured. So Ansgar Knauf making up the numbers up there in the number 9 position. The referee today is 44-year-old lawyer Tobias Stieler from Oberhausen. This is his 202nd Bundesliga match. So let's see if Frankfurt can muster something here. They beat Augsburg last week by 1-0, and Ritsu Doan was the scorer. Slightly flattering result for Frankfurt there, but they face the Hamburg side who've not really established themselves properly this season, and they keep looking over their shoulders, Hamburg, because they are only 4 points off the relegation playoff spot, which is occupied by their neighbours St. Pauli. So Hamburg on 15 in 14th place, just 4 points ahead of the relegation playoff place. Eintracht Frankfurt in 7th. That's where they've been for the past few weeks. And it's not as high as they expected to be. Don't forget, Eintracht finishing 3rd last season. So expectations very high at Frankfurt after they won the Europa League 2 seasons ago. But, of course, all the departures playing a role for them. Off we go. Hamburg playing in their red shorts from right to left, red shorts and white and blue tops, and Eintracht Frankfurt defending the goal to our left in their dark blue strip. Brilliant atmosphere here. Hamburg, one of the big clubs of the Bundesliga, and with a lot of support. Last week, 15,000 made the journey down to Hoffenheim. That's a long way, but they saw their side beaten soundly by 4 goals to 1. Good work this is by Baldi. Fabio Baldi, the Portuguese under-21 player, on the wing, plays the ball back into his defenders. Here come HSV. Nikolai Remberg it is, the defensive midfielder, the metronome in the Hamburg midfield there. He missed last week's game, but he's back. Nikolai Remberg, so important, alongside Albert Sambi Lukongo in central midfield. He's a Belgian DR Congo player. Was on Arsenal's books for a few weeks and months, but is certainly settling down well here in the Bundesliga. That's a foul on a Hamburg player. Heavy tackle that was on Rayon Philippe. He was brought down there, and it's a free kick to Hamburg. And let's see what they can do. Don't forget, they beat Borussia Dortmund here. They drew against Borussia Dortmund here, and they beat Stuttgart here. So at home, they're a completely different side compared to the away form. As Michael was telling you at the beginning, doesn't make pretty reading. Hamburg, one of the weakest sides in the Bundesliga away from home. But it's here that they look good, and that free kick comes to nothing. Michael, do you expect Hamburg to put on a better performance than last week against Augsburg?
Absolutely, Alex.
Sorry, not Augsburg. Hoffenheim, of course.
Absolutely. Yes, I expect that they're going to be a better side. After coming off worse in that game, I expect that they would have done a lot of their homework and be able to plug the holes that they exposed themselves to last week. Because to lose 2 weeks in a row, it's not going to look good for the team, and it's definitely going to hit team morale. So I expect them to come off with a decent result here, especially in front of their home fans.
Exactly. We expect Hamburg to put on a really good performance. We commentated that game in Leipzig early in the season, and they were very unlucky to get beaten there. And they put on a good performance, and the away form letting them down, though, again, as Frankfurt very timidly tried to play the ball around. They are, of course, severely weakened by the absence of Skiri and Shaibi, both of them at the AFCON. And it's a corner to Eintracht Frankfurt. It's going to be taken over that far side. Taking his time, the Frankfurt player. Massive support here. The stadium has a capacity of well over 50,000, and plenty of Frankfurt fans coming down, or coming up, I should say, all the way up to the big port city of Hamburg. And it's Mahmoud Dahoud who's going to take the corner from the left-hand side. Dahoud, who spent some time at Brighton. In it comes, cleared, though, by Hamburg, and their Libyan left-back, Daniel El Fadli, drafted in to the side very late, after Jordan Torunaringa didn't make the starting 11 because of an injury in the warm-up. So here come Eintracht Frankfurt over that far side, trying to get the ball into the penalty area, but it goes out of touch, and throw-in to be taken by the visitors. Nathaniel Brown is going to take it. He is a German-American playing on the left-hand side, and the ball goes into touch. Great expectation here at the Volkspark Stadium. Don't forget, Hamburg, one of the big clubs in Germany, but they spent 7 seasons in Division 2. But there was a time when they won the Bundesliga. That was, of course, ages ago. That was, some of you might remember the name of Kevin Keegan, the English international who came to the Bundesliga in the late 70s, and he and Horst Rubesch formed a formidable partnership up front. Hamburg winning the title twice in the late 70s, and they even won the European Cup, which is now the Champions League. They won it back in 1983, 1-0 against Juventus Turin. Unforgettable that for Hamburg fans. A 1-0 victory, the goal scored by Felix Magath, their legendary coach. But they've got to deal with Frankfurt this afternoon, and they've let them settle down nicely now. Frankfurt playing the ball around with Dahoud. Dahoud still on the ball, plays it forward, and Namadi Collins, he's a German-Nigerian playing in defence. But Hamburg doing very well to stop that attack. And here they come with Albert Sambi Lokongo. The ball played to the right-hand side, to the wing. That is Ryan Philippe, who scored their consolation goal against Hoffenheim last week and also missed a penalty, the French winger there. But he's done well to win a corner for the home side. Off Aurel Amenda, he's Swiss-Angolan, and Hamburg certainly taking their time to take that corner. This is Muheim trotting across. Miro Muheim, he's Swiss, he's the left winger, and he signed from St. Gallen. As the supporters wait for the corner to be taken, Muheim looking as if he means business. In it comes, it's a high one. Can anybody get ahead to it? Way past the post. That was by Robin Koch, clearing the danger there. And it's another corner to Hamburg. It's going to be taken from the other side, though. Match day 15 of the Bundesliga. We're in Hamburg at the Volksparkstadion for the encounter between HSV Hamburg against Eintracht Frankfurt. So another corner to the home side. It's going to be Fabio Balde to take it. He raises his arms. In it comes, but cleared by Frankfurt. Picked up once more by Hamburg. Can they still keep up the pressure? That's Christensen, the Norwegian defender there, helping out. But the ball picked up once more by Ryan Philippe. And Christensen once more. He's a very physical player, and the Frankfurt side certainly need him. The ball played upfield, but Frankfurt trying to catch Hamburg on the break, but play on, says the referee. Tobias Stieler, as the crowd get to their feet. The ball played in the penalty area there, but cleared. They'll, of course, be looking for the head of Ransford Königsdorfer. He's a striker, the German Ghanaian. He's been here for a long time. You can rely on him to get the goals. So Hamburg trying to impress, not really creating any big chance yet, but they're doing their best. And we've had an early goal. The Wolves are 1-0 down to Freiburg. Philipp Treu, the scorer there. It's Wolfsburg 0, Freiburg 1. Surprise scoreline. The other games this afternoon are Stuttgart against Hoffenheim, Augsburg against Werder Bremen, Cologne against Union Berlin, and on Sunday, of course, Mainz plays St. Pauli in a relegation battle, and Heidenheim, they face the mighty Bayern Munich, who got a 6-point lead over Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund moving into second place after their win last night against Borussia Mönchengladbach, but they're 6 points behind Bayern, and of course, Bayern have to play a game tomorrow that they'll probably win at Heidenheim, as they have to be content with chasing Bayern, as do Leipzig. Leipzig, of course, is the late kickoff. Leipzig against Leverkusen. And, of course, a lot of eyes will be on the AFCON tomorrow, the beginning of the competition, kicking off in Morocco. Michael, have you got a favourite?
Naturally, Alex, my favorite would be Ghana, but Ghana isn't in the AFCON, and so I'm throwing my weight behind the current champions, Ivory Coast. I think they've got a really good side, and they have a lot to play for, and I also enjoy their style of play. So I expect that they're going to be able to go very, very far in this competition.
Ivory Coast for you then.
Absolutely.
Okay. What about Senegal?
Well, Senegal is also a good side, I must say.
Nicholas Jackson and Sadio Mane.
Yeah, but between the two teams, I would go for Ivory Coast.
Okay. So we'll be watching that, of course, with a lot of interest here on DW Africa, of course, and there are quite a few players of the Bundesliga involved in the AFCON. Leipzig will have to do with that. Yann Diomande, the Ivorian, and Amadou Haidara, he too not there. Banzumana Touré of Hoffenheim, he too at the AFCON, as is Ramzi Benzibaini, the Algerian of Borussia Dortmund, and Leverkusen. They have to do without Edmund Tapsoba, Ibrahim Massa, Nathan Tella, and Christian Kafani, and Elias Ben Seguir. All those players at the AFCON. Stuttgart have to do without Bilal El Khanous, the Moroccan there, Elias Saad, Samuel Azemdi, and Ismail Garbi of Augsburg. They will all be at the AFCON. And as I told you, Faris Shaibi and Elias Skiri of Frankfurt, they, of course, at the competition, which is always exciting, especially to have so much good football in the winter times. It'll make things easier to be without the Bundesliga for the first few weeks of January. Hamburg picked the ball up. This is Ransdorfer, who was brought down there, and it's still a throw-in. The referee being very generous still now, which is good to see. He doesn't stop play for every foul as Hamburg try to build. This is Daniel El Fadli, the Libyan German, used to play for Magdeburg, and now he's back in the side because of Jordan Tunaringa's injury. Hamburg not making inroads, though. They got a few good defenders. Luka Vuskovic, one of them, he's the central defender. He's a Croatian. He's only 18, would you believe? But in terms of duels, he's right up there. So Luka Vuskovic, only 18, but already a superstar. Hamburg, an emotional big club, and they expect a little bit more here, of course, than to see their side worried about relegation. But, of course, St. Pauli, Heidenheim and Mainz, they are in the worrying positions. But you would expect Mainz to climb up from the bottom of the table with their new coach, Urs Fischer, who used to be in charge of Union Berlin. And Mainz looked very good in the Europa League against Samsunspor. And they've reached the next round, which is... You'd wonder, though, you'd think Mainz have got more worries about the Bundesliga than Europe, but they look much better under Urs Fischer. Here come the home side, Hamburg. Good football, this. Good football. This is Lukonga. Lukonga finds Königsdorfer. That was the first attempt on goal. It's about time, Michael, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that was a really good work by Hamburg, playing the ball from the back and doing all of the necessary work to get it to Königsdorfer. Unfortunately, that final 18-yard box attack wasn't very, very effective. But Hamburg has shown that once they get a good service, they could be a problem for Frankfurt.
Well, you'd expect them to put up a better performance than last week in Hoffenheim, where they were hammered 4-1. Neither side has really threatened yet, and that was half a chance a few minutes ago. A pretty even opening in the first 10 minutes. Hamburg 0, Eintracht Frankfurt 0, two of Germany's biggest clubs, hoping to do a little bit better. Here than the home side, but good defending that was by Frankfurt. And the ball bowled out quickly by the keeper onto the wing. Here come Eintracht Frankfurt, bearing down on goal. Good run this by Collins, gets to the byline, but unable to get the ball into the box. That was actually Jean-Mathieu Bahoya, Michael, and you know that Jean-Mathieu Bahoya is the fastest player in the Bundesliga, the French Cameroonian. I think he broke the 36 or 37 mile limit there. Bahoya, here he is, given a start. Fastest player in the Bundesliga.
Absolutely blazing down. When he goes on that left wing side, on that edge of the pitch, he can outrun many of the defenders and the midfielders.
Yeah, he needs the space, of course. And I mean, he's not just the fastest player this season, he's the fastest ever player in the Bundesliga. So that's a player to keep an eye on. Let's see if he can show off his skills down that side, which is the right wing. Jean-Mathieu Bahoya, joined from Angers in Ligue 1. So many players coming from the French league to the Bundesliga, which produces a lot of talent. Ligue 1, that is, for the big leagues, the Premier League and the Bundesliga. Frankfurt trying to get a grip on the game, but somehow they've not settled well. And Hamburg haven't been really dangerous, but Frankfurt not looking settled and a little bit nervous when Hamburg try and make their very rare attacks down the wings. Still no goals in any of the other games. We'll be keeping you informed about what's going on and about the remaining African players in the Bundesliga, those who haven't been called up for the AFCON. This is Balde, Fabio Balde. He's a German-Portuguese winger. Portugal under 21 he plays for, and he put in a good performance last week against Hoffenheim. That's why he keeps his place in the Hamburg side. They've not settled properly, Eintracht Frankfurt, but I think that Frankfurt should be making more out of this. Hamburg should really be putting Frankfurt under more pressure, because Frankfurt looking rather dangerous, rather vulnerable, and the ball goes into touch, and it's a goal kick for Hamburg. Hamburg, shall we say, slightly the better side, Michael, but not really causing much danger.
They definitely have had a lot more of the possession in the first few minutes of this game. They've had a lot more touches, a lot more passes, but the game so far has been played in the center of the pitch. They need to be able to go forward a bit more and provide service to their strikers, Koningsdorfer. That's the only way they can probably get a point out of this game. But so far, they've been very, very cautious and playing the game with the ball, very clean and safe passes at the back. And they need to have the confidence to be able to go forward.
Hamburg trying to, shall we say, get a grip onto this game. Neither side really managing to, as we see Yusuf Poulsen on the bench there, the Danish-Tanzanian striker who played for years at Leipzig. Now he is very much part of the Hamburg setup, but he picked up an injury in training, so he's not quite fit. And when we look at the other substitutes, for instance, on the Hamburg bench, we see Georgi Gosholashvili. He's the Georgian, had a relatively good game last week, but he's on the bench today. And William Michel Bonsi, the Frenchman, preferred to the Georgian on the right wing today. And Fabio Vieira, he's another Portuguese player. Opportunity here for Hamburg, but the ball rose harmlessly into the arms of Michel Setterer. I was just saying about Fabio Vieira on loan from Arsenal, and in and out of the Hamburg side. And of course, on loan from Arsenal, and we've got another player on loan from a North London club, namely Vuskovic. He's on loan from Tottenham.
There's a goal!
And it's a goal for Hamburg. 1-0 to the home side, and the stadium explodes. And it is Albert Sambi Lokonga who is the reason for the celebrations here. Lokonga makes it Hamburg 1, Frankfurt 0. And I have to say, Michael, it is deserved.
It is deserved, but also it was a mistake on the part of the Frankfurt players. I think they were holding on to the ball too much within the 18-yard box, and they definitely bundled this and gave the Hamburg player, who was just lurking around in the 18-yard box, the chance to pick that ball up and lay it on the extreme left-hand side of the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper had no chance at stopping that, but that ball should have been cleared outright from outside of the 18-yard box, and Frankfurt shouldn't have been holding on to the ball and passing it that close to their goal. And this is something that is unfortunate, but Frankfurt has conceived a goal that they shouldn't have.
Yeah, it wasn't a particularly hard shot by Lokonga, but it found the back of the net. I'm not really sure if the keeper could have done a little bit better there, Michel Setterer. And Tobias Stieler, the referee, having a word with Brown, Nathaniel Brown, not really know why. He points to his watch. Tobias Stieler, he's a rather controversial referee. He's been in the making headlines in the past few weeks for some of his decisions, but we won't dwell on that. He's a good referee, but has caused some controversy in the past few months. The ball played back to Cetera, who must be feeling rather nervous after conceding, letting that shot go in. 1-0 Hamburg, and that goal will do the game a lot of good. They look more confident, they look more spirited than a Frankfurt side who look, quite frankly, completely tired and not really at the races, should we say.
It looks like, Alex, they haven't really settled into this game, but
No.
on paper, Frankfurt is supposed to be the better side. They are sitting 7th on the table, and they are playing against a team that is barely escaping relegation. So you would expect a bit more from Frankfurt, and now they are coming out of the blocks. Will they be able to make anything out of this?
That was a heavy challenge on Rizzo Doan. He was shoulder charged there by a Hamburg defender, but no problem, says the referee. Play on, says Tobias Stieler. What do you think of that scene?
I think that it was a fair challenge, Alex. It was a 50-50 challenge for the ball. The only risk there is that it happened in the 18-yard box, and probably a different referee would have had a different opinion. But it was a body tackle, and that for me looked very okay.
Let me just quickly give you a result from the Premier League. The early kickoff was between Newcastle United and Chelsea, and 2-2 the final score there. Newcastle 2, Chelsea 2. Nick Woltemade scoring both of Newcastle's goals there, and Chelsea getting a draw there. Reece James pulled the goal back, and Joao Pedro got the equaliser, 2-2. And Woltemade, who's certainly hit the ground running in the Premier League, we have to say. Nick Woltemade, the Germany striker, was sure to see him at the World Cup. And let's see what Germany can do at the World Cup in the summer. And, of course, all the African nations playing in the World Cup. It's a big shame not to see Nigeria there, Michael. Did that surprise you that Nigeria didn't make it?
In their group, I was expecting them to be the toppers of the group, and they had so many opportunities to come to top that group. And I think that there must be a lot happening beyond the pitch, because they've got a really good squad. And on paper, when you compare the team that Nigeria has got, they've got Osimhen, who is in fantastic form, scoring goals for Galatasaray. They've got so many good players. And so it should have been very easy for Nigeria to qualify, but that didn't happen, and that certainly surprised me.
Very surprising, and big shame, really. Big footballing country, Nigeria. And talking about Nigerian strikers, there's a youngster in Division 2. We've mentioned his name, Francis Onyeka. He's only 18, Francis Onyeka. He plays in Division 2 for Bochum, who won the first division in the Bundesliga last season. And he scored 2 goals again for Bochum this afternoon. And so that's one to keep an eye on. Opportunity for Hamburg there. Ranzhoff Königsdorfer stretching at his leg, almost making contact. It was good work by Fabio Baldi. Played the ball low into the penalty area, but Cetera was quicker to get to the ball than Königsdorfer. And Frankfurt under pressure. They've not settled at all. They look nervous each time. Hamburg, who are by no means in great form, each time Hamburg more or less carve out a chance. You can see Frankfurt panicking there. Wolfsburg have equalised against Freiburg. Pecinovic, the scorer there for the Wolves. Dejan Pecinovic. So it's Wolfsburg 1, Freiburg 1. And no goals in any of the other games. But here, of course, Hamburg are 1-0 up through that goal by Lukonga. Frankfurt beginning to wake up a little bit now, I think. And so they should. It's taking them a little bit of time. They look a little bit more lively and looking really better than in the opening 10 minutes, should we say. Here they come. This is Christensen trying to get the ball to Hugo Larsson, the Swede, back in the Frankfurt side after missing out against Augsburg last week. Hugo Larsson and Mahmoud Dahoud, the two holding midfielders there for Frankfurt, with Nathaniel Brown, the German-American, and Rasmus Christensen on the wing. Throw in to be taken by Rasmus Christensen for Eintracht Frankfurt. It's a long one into the penalty area. Can they head it across? Opportunity here for Frankfurt, but the ball bounces out into touch there. And the keeper, Daniel Hoyer Fernandez, tried to take it a little bit too fast, that goal kick. And the referee pulling him back, stopping him. And he's got to retake the goal kick there, with Christensen and Muheim having a little conversation. Not very friendly terms there. The home side 1-0 up. Lokonga, the scorer there, the Belgian who stems from DR Congo, his family. And we've not really seen Frankfurt trouble the Hamburg defence seriously, but Hamburg certainly have a problem in defence. Everybody knows that. They've conceded far too many goals and have looked vulnerable each time they are put under pressure this season. Got a lucky win last week against Augsburg. They've scored 29, Eintracht Frankfurt, and conceded 29. Opportunity! It's the equaliser. The ball played in, and there is the equaliser through Hugo Larsson. That came out of nowhere, Michael.
It absolutely did, Alex. And this is very similar to the goal that Hamburg conceded last week in that game against Hoffenheim. The ball came in from the right-hand side. It was a very, very long cross. And in my opinion, Alex, I think it was Capaldo who was the defender on that side. He should have been able to make sure that that cross was not connected.
Indeed.
But he was caught ball watching.
Indeed. Nicolas Capaldo caught ball watching. Luka Vuskovic was nowhere there. Hamburg, though, hitting back. Oh, and it comes off the crossbar, would you believe? Great answer by Hamburg. Here's Fabio Baldi. Gets to the bar line, crosses into the penalty area. Header. Oh, goodness me. Everything is happening there in front of the Frankfurt box. And what a goal that would have been. It hit the crossbar. So Hamburg the game's certainly come alive now, Michael.
It definitely has. And while we were analyzing the goal by Frankfurt, Hamburg was already preparing a reply. And that was one hell of a reply, only saved or prevented by the crossbar. Hamburg has taken this punch to the jaw and is responding and is going for it now, trying to go up ahead again in this game.
So, 1-1 here. Slightly fortunate for Frankfurt to be on level terms. But what a move that was by Hamburg when the ball suddenly was in the penalty area. And Rayon Philippe let fly, but it came off the crossbar. This is seconds after Frankfurt got the equaliser. And 1-1 though. And of course, Hamburg are beginning to really look as if they want to cover more ground than they have this season. Last week, when they faced Hoffenheim, they faced a side that covers more ground than any other team, and it was Hoffenheim who hammered them 4-1. So Hamburg have got to begin to cover more ground this season than they have till now, and that'll improve their standings in the table as the ball goes out for a corner. Capaldo involved there. Nicolas Capaldo, and Eintracht getting the big players back to try and defend that corner. Goodness, it's been breathtaking in the last few minutes. Muheim coming across. Miro Muheim, he's the Swiss player, came from St. Gallen, experienced enough to cause Frankfurt problems. Corner to the home side. In he comes, headed away though by Robin Koch. And Frankfurt managed to clear their lines. Long ball forward. Great work though by the defenders there. I think it was Lukongo who got back in time, and the ball was played to his keeper, to Daniel Hoyer Fernandez. Well, both sides have woken up, Michael. Both sides going for the win.
It's now a very open game, and both sides shooting and attacking, and now it's all to play for. both teams have sized each other up appropriately now, and they've decided there is a time to open up the game and go for the win. Hamburg slightly ahead in terms of having a bit more attacking flair up front, but you cannot rule out a team like Frankfurt. They've got a lot of quality and a lot of experience when it comes to crucial games like this.
Indeed. The fastest player after 30 minutes is Frankfurt's Ansgar Knauf, but he's been overtaken now by Fabio Baldi. 35.4 kilometers, not bad at all. And Bahoya, the fastest man in the Bundesliga, he's not yet reached top speed. So at the moment, it's Fabio Baldi, the Portuguese under-21 player, who's reached a speed of 35.4. Not bad at all, as Hamburg try to build. They look a little bit more confident now. That was solely a foul off the ball there, and it's a free kick to Hamburg in the centre circle. The referee seeing that and awarding the free kick. Frankfurt trying to stop Hamburg with some niggly fouls, because they seem to have found their form, hit their stride a little bit better than the visitors. Opportunity here for Hamburg. Good effort, and it goes over the crossbar there. It was Muheim, the Swiss player, letting fly. There's a Hamburg player on the ground. Good effort that by Miro Muheim. And just inches over the crossbar there. That was close, Michael.
It was very, very close. And he took that shot outside of the 18-yard box, and it was quite impressive. He got the accuracy quite right, but he slipped a bit, and I think that is what may have got him to lose the ball, go over the crossbar. But this is a very, very good effort by Hamburg, showing that they can work their way into the 18-yard box, but they can also strike from outside it when they need to.
Yeah, very true. Plenty of players of African descent in both these squads as we watch Hamburg try to trouble the defence once more. The ball headed almost out of play. It is out of play. Daniel El-Fadli, I told you about, is the German-Libyan left back playing for Hamburg today. Then there's Wamed Omari of Comoros. He was almost called up for the AFCON, but injury prevented him from being involved in the AFCON. That's sad for Wamed Omari. Then we told you about Jordan Torunariga, who was in the starting lineup, but had to withdraw after injuring himself in the warm-up. The German-Nigerian Jordan Torunariga, who spent basically all his early years at Hertha Berlin. Then, of course, there's Abuka Sumahoro. He's a French Ivorian. He's on Hamburg's books. Then Jean-Luc Dompe. He's a French Malian, and I certainly miss him because he's a really good winger, Jean-Luc Dompe, the French Malian there. But his Achilles heel is a problem. It's been injured, and they don't know whether to make him play, because movement apparently helps Achilles heels injuries. And so he's in and out of the side, Dompe, and I tell you, he's a problem. He's a big problem for the defenders when he is in full swing there. Jean-Luc Dompe sadly out today. Then, of course, we've got Lukonga. He's Belgian-Congolese, DOC. Bakary Jatta, he's from the Gambia. Another player injured is Alexander Rössing-Lelezit. He's Kenyan-Norwegian. Then, of course, we've got Robert Glatzel in the Hamburg squad. He's German-Eritrean. Not too many Eritreans in the Bundesliga. And Yusuf Poulsen, of course, he's Danish-Tanzanian. He too on the bench. Opportunity for Hamburg to get the ball into the penalty area, but well covered there by the Hamburg defenders. And they're trying to play their way out of trouble. But Frankfurt pressing hard. Two players colliding there in front of the referee. Rizzo Doan, that is. And goodness me, that was a heavy collision, Michael.
It was. It didn't look intentional, but it looks like it must have been Rambeck who collided into Dohan. And the Hamburg player is on the field, and he's holding his nose. He seems to have had taken a knock on his face. And,
that was Daniel El-Fadli, the Libyan, on the ground there as we watch that first goal by Hamburg. Good shot that was by Lukonga. I still maintain the referee should have done a little bit, the goalkeeper should have done a little bit better. And the equaliser a few moments later by Hugo Larsson, the Swedish international man who signed from Malmo. Free kick to Frankfurt, close to the centre circle. Just over 10 minutes remaining to the half-time whistle. It's been an open match here. Two sides deciding to attack, fortunately. And match day 15 of the Bundesliga not providing too many goals yet. We've got 2 in Wolfsburg, 1-1 there. And we've got 2 in Hamburg, 1-1 here too. No goals between Cologne and Union, Augsburg and Werder Bremen 0-0, and Stuttgart and Hoffenheim, the big derby down there in the southwest, also 0-0. Hamburg trying to build, but Frankfurt beginning to press. That high press by Frankfurt, which of course leaves them vulnerable at the back sometimes. They've conceded 30 goals this season, and that is certainly a lot when you think 30 goals in the Bundesliga alone. So everybody basically delighted that Hamburg are back in the Bundesliga. Great club with fantastic fans and a really good stadium, but they're struggling. It's not as easy as it looks when you come up from from Bundesliga 2. Most promoted sides struggle. Cologne beginning to struggle. They had a good start. The other promoted side, Cologne, they've been relegated 6 times, would you believe, in their history. And Cologne beginning to slide down the table. They've not won in 5 games now. So there'll be a few worried faces in the city of Cologne. Here comes Fabio Baldi on the ball, finds Lukonga. Lukonga back to Baldi. Hamburg looking a little bit more settled. This is El Fadli. El Fadli plays the ball back to Vuskovic, the tall defender in central defence for Hamburg, on loan from Tottenham. Luka Vuskovic, the Croatian, and Frankfurt trying to play their way out of the own half. And here is Hugo Larsson. Long ball by Larsson. Excellent, but it's not going to reach Christensen there. And it's picked up by the defenders. Christensen still generous enough to applaud Larsson's attempt to find him. So Comoros opening the tournament against Morocco on Sunday. What a tournament. We're all looking forward to that, of course. And plenty of good football to be served up in Morocco at the AFCON. So Eintracht Frankfurt, we have to keep repeating this. A lot of room for improvement in defence. 30 goals conceded and 29 scored, would you believe. Frankfurt's away games, well, they've always been a guarantee for entertainment. 38 goals scored when Frankfurt are involved in away games. 38 goals on both sides, of course. Frankfurt, who finished 3rd last season, and somehow trying to settle into this game. I think Hamburg, we can say, Michael, have still slightly the better side.
They definitely are the better side. They seem to want the points more, and they are out of the blocks, certainly causing a bit more problems for Frankfurt than the opposite.
Here come Frankfurt. They've got a little bit of space now. This is Nathaniel Brown. Frankfurt trying to make inroads into the Hamburg defense. Plenty of distance, plenty of space, though, between those Hamburg players. To be quite honest, they don't really look well coached. This is really critical of Merlin Polsin, the Hamburg coach. But as we saw them last week against Hoffenheim, far too much space between the players, as there is now, Michael. Just look at that. They don't look really well organized. They're all over the place. The ball picked up by Eintracht. This is Christensen, who, as usual, putting in a really good shift as they try to get the ball into the penalty area. But Hamburg tried to break, but it's picked up by Frankfurt. This is dangerous. The ball played across to Collins, played the ball inside. and nobody there to finish off that move. Frankfurt, when they get into the box, they look dangerous. But once more, it's Christensen who picks up the ball. Play on, says the referee. This is Christensen, much to the anger of the Hamburg supporters, but Tobias Stieler in the end does blow his whistle. Well, he certainly took his time there. That was a foul on the Hamburg player Nikolai Rembach by Ritzo Doan, who's one of the fairest players in the Bundesliga indeed. So Frankfurt, they've got quite a few players of African descent also in their squad. Eli Wahi, the French Ivorian, things not really working out for him. He's such a good striker he was in Ligue 1, but he hasn't really had a good run here in Hamburg. Then, of course, we told you about Jean-Matteo Bahoya, the French Cameroonian, the Bundesliga's fastest player. Then there is Jesse Ngankam, the German Cameroonian. Ansgar Knauf, he's on the pitch, the German Ghanaian. Injured is, of course, Michi Batshuayi, the Belgian Congolese player, and Fares Shaibi and Skiri, of course, they are at the AFCON. Then there's Aurel Amenda, he's Swiss Cameroonian, and Aurelio, he is, of course, Aurelio Buta, he's Portuguese. Long ball forward, out of defense for Hamburg. And Christensen clears the danger, and the ball rolls out. Just under 5 minutes of normal time remaining here. Still no goals between Stuttgart and Hoffenheim. Stuttgart have former staff in Sebastian Hoeneß and Angelo Stiller at their club. They used to be, of course, at Hoffenheim, the coach Sebastian Hoeneß and Angelo Stiller. Hoffenheim winning 6 of their last 8 Bundesliga matches, the 5th in the table. So quite a game between Stuttgart and Hoffenheim. That's considered a little bit of a derby. Hoffenheim weakened, of course, through the absence of Bazumana Touré. He's the Ivorian and he's at the AFCON. And that is, of course, not the only player at the AFCON in that game. Bilal El Kanous, he is Moroccan and he's at the AFCON too. So plenty of players involved in Africa's biggest competition. Ansgar Knauf not looking happy. Borussia Dortmund sit pretty in second position there. As we told you, Bayern Munich, they play tomorrow. There's a lot of talk about Dortmund's striker who is making the news for the wrong reasons, of course. And we know that he's an excellent striker. And, of course, I'm talking about Karim Adeyemi, who was substituted yesterday, Michael. And then he wasn't very happy again at being substituted and wanted to walk off and leave the pitch instead of sitting down with his teammates. And Adeyemi, he's been making the headlines for all the wrong reasons. And Dortmund very strictly deciding to fine him for his reaction after being substituted. I think, well, if I could say something, just leave the guy alone. He's such a good player and a delight for us commentators when Adeyemi's on the ball. He was, of course, charged for possessing weapons a few weeks ago, and now, once again, his reaction causing the headlines. I mean, which player likes to be substituted? And he was very angry and he walks off yesterday in a fury, but the club very clearly stating that they don't accept that kind of behavior. He's going to be fined once more for his behavior, which is a big shame, because if you ask me, Karim Adeyemi, he'll probably be leaving Dortmund soon. Not to, and that's a big shame for the Bundesliga to lose such a great talent.
I can see that happening soon. He's also been at the club for quite a bit of time, and we've seen his quality. He is a high-quality player.
Such an exciting player. He can make things happen. He's a spectacular player, Karim Adeyemi.
Absolutely, he is. And it's a surprise, actually, that Dortmund have managed to hold on to him all these years.
Yeah. If you believe the headlines and the speculations, Manchester United might be interested in signing Karim Adeyemi, but Manchester United, of course, they've got a lot of problems trying to rebuild the side. But, well, we just have to wait and see. But we'd be sad to lose Adeyemi in the Bundesliga. Here comes Muheim, plays the ball into the penalty area there, but easy stop there for Cetera. Long ball downfield. Frankfurt trying to catch Hamburg on the break. This is Knauf over on that far side. He's got Capaldo in front of him. Knauf does well to cut inside. Still Ansgar Knauf. It's all about the release now. Finds Bahoya, and there's a little bit of an entanglement there between Ansgar Knauf and the referee, quickly coming to stop the little altercation there. Remberg and Knauf having a few words. Not very friendly terms there. It looked rather dangerous, as if they were going to hit each other, but fortunately the referee getting in between them there. It was a clatter of bodies there. Remberg, who is a very rough player, clattering into Knauf. Knauf didn't like it.
Yeah, I understand Knauf, but looking at the replay, this didn't seem like there was some malice behind. Remberg went in to clear the ball, and Knauf clashed into Knauf. And so I think it's just one of those things that happen in football. Unfortunately, they have just shaken hands. And so it looks like we are good to go. The two have agreed that this was a one, or if it was a foul. Of course, the foul has been given, and Frankfurt have got a free kick.
Free kick to Frankfurt, just outside the penalty area. Mahmoud and Mohamed Dahoud and Rizzo Doan getting ready to take that free kick, as we see the massive Hamburg flags behind that goal to our right. Such great support they've got. Even when they were in Bundesliga 2, the supporters were magnificent. It looks as if Mohamed Dahoud's going to take the free kick. Taking his time about it, Dahoud. And the Hamburg defence looks really at sixes and sevens there, but the walls stood well, and Mo Dahoud's free kick coming off Hamburg, the player who's gone right down. He got the ball in his face there. We can't really tell you which Hamburg player it is, but it was a strong shot by Mo Dahoud there, right into the head or into the face of the Hamburg defender, and he's down. And the Frankfurt players having a little argument. Well, he certainly seems to have taken a knock there. I think it's Daniel El-Fadli, as far as I can see from here. Well, it certainly came off his face, but fortunately he's all right. Daniel El-Fadli gets to his feet. Used to play for Magdeburg in League 2, the German-Libyan, and the referee saying game can continue. We're into added time in this first half. It's been 1-1 here between Hamburg and Frankfurt. And both, I say it's a fair result, a fair scoreline. What do you say, Michael?
I would have expected that Hamburg would be up at least 2-1. They've had a bit more of the possession in this game. They have been the side that has nearly 60% of possession, and I would expect that would have translated into a second goal at least. And it wasn't because of the lack of chances. They have had chances, but they have failed to utilize those chances. And as we go into the halftime break, the coach really needs to talk to his the forward players. They need to make this clinical, because you don't get a lot of opportunities with a team like Frankfurt. And once you get them, you need to utilize them.
Yeah, you need to take the chances.
You need to take the chances, and Hamburg isn't doing that at the moment.
There goes the halftime whistle. Tobias Stieler signals get off the pitch into the changing rooms. 1-1 on match day 15 of the Bundesliga. It's the last round before the winter break. No goals between Stuttgart and Hoffenheim. It's 1-1 between the Wolves and Freiburg. No goals between Augsburg and Bremen, and no goals in Cologne between Cologne and Union Berlin. The late kickoff is Leipzig against Leverkusen. Over to you, Michael.
And while the Bundesliga is slipping into the winter break, Africa is getting ready to turn up the volume. 24 nations are set to chase the biggest prize on the continent under the floodlights of Casablanca, Rabat and Marrakech in Christmas month through to the new year. The 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco comes with new intrigues. And here's my colleague, George Okachi, with what you need to know about Africa's biggest competition.
DW Bundesliga.
For Bundesliga fans, this isn't a distant tournament on another channel. It is where familiar faces swap cold weather in German stadiums for packed African arenas, and where a new generation of stars is promising to change their career course in football in just 3 weeks. Tough groups, new twists in the competition format, big favorites, and Europe top-flight league players top the discussion about the upcoming tournament. Morocco, the host, will open this year's edition as they face Comoros on Sunday night. The tournament being played right through the Christmas and New Year period, prime time football in North Africa. The format stays familiar, 6 groups of 4 teams. The top 2 from each group plus the 4 best third-place sides reach the round of 16. That means a slow start does not necessarily kill a giant, and it keeps the final match day in every group absolutely alive with possibilities. Now, AFCON has become a specialist in chaos on the final day on the group stage, with 4 third-place teams going through. A single goal can tilt an entire bracket. Coaches know they can manage minutes, rotate squads, and still sneak out of the group, but it also means you cannot switch off for a second. On the top of that, squads can go up to 28 players, giving coaches more options to handle injuries and late arrivals. And fans will notice stricter time-wasting control on goalkeepers and a stronger push for only captains to speak to the referee, part of a broader effort to keep matches flowing and emotions in check. And then there is the draw, a puzzle that already tells you where the tournament's first earthquakes might come from. Let's now walk you through a few of the most intriguing groups. Group A is the host nation pressure cooker, Morocco with the backing of a football-obsessed country, up against Mali, Zambia, and Comoros. Morocco arrived with the aura of that World Cup semi-final in Qatar, and the expectations that hosting AFCON means going deep. But Mali's physical, direct style and Zambia's fearless approach means there is no soft landing for the hosts. In Group B, Egypt share a section with South Africa, Angola, and Zimbabwe. Egypt bring all weight of their AFCON history and the spotlight on their star forwards, like Mo Salah, while South Africa present themselves as a rebuild side that has quietly become far harder to beat. Group C is already being whispered as a mini group of death, and it has Nigeria, Tunisia, Uganda, and Tanzania. On paper, Nigeria and Tunisia should advance, but AFCON doesn't respect paper. Nigeria carry the eternal label of favorites, but they face a Tunisian side known for tactical discipline. Uganda and Tanzania arrive with nothing to lose and everything to prove. Exactly the combination that has produced famous upsets in this competition. Then there is the Champions Corridor, Senegal with Democratic Republic of Congo, Benin, and Botswana in Group D. Senegal remain one of the continent's most complete national teams, but Democratic Republic of Congo bring raw power and emotion that can unsettle any opponent. Remember, they are also slated to qualify for the World Cup. Looking further down the draw, the story stays the same. Algeria share a group with Burkina Faso, Equatorial Guinea, and Sudan. Ivory Coast, the defending champions, find themselves alongside Cameroon, Gabon, and Mozambique. However you turn the schedule, someone big is under pressure from the first whistle. Now, for listeners in Germany, this AFCON is also a story about familiar names in unfamiliar colors. Several Bundesliga players will be at the center of their nation's ambitions in Morocco.
The 19-year-old makes it 4 for this season. Again, he's in behind the defence. Nicholas Jackson, double Bayern's advantage.
Jackson in the bottom corner.
His first Bundesliga goal, Bayern cruising.
Oh, Tapsoba! A chance he could hardly refuse from that kind of range. Edmond Tapsoba's second goal of the Bundesliga season. Tremendous cross for Tapsoba's header. It's 2-0 for Leverkusen.
Andreas Untonji, who's now scored in back-to-back Bundesliga games.
Lima dispossessed by Pereira Lage, and now Andreas Untonji! An extraordinary start for St. Pauli.
Untonji, perfect start to the second half for the hosts. And Amora is in behind once more. Oh, a thumping finish by Mohamed Amora. Amora is off and away here. A lovely touch and a wonderful finish. Just the reaction they needed. And they come back for Amora. 2-0. Rihanna, that's a super goal by Jan Diomande. He has scaled the heights.
A really cool finish from a teenager banging for. It was a star against Stuttgart.
Second youngest hat-trick scorer in Bundesliga history.
Up front, Senegal's attack will feature Nicolas Jackson of Bayern Munich, a forward used to carrying pressure in big arenas. Every goal he scores in Morocco will be replayed not only in the car, but also in living rooms from Munich and Hamburg. In midfield, RB Leipzig, Jan Diomande will wear the orange of Ivory Coast. In the Bundesliga, he's already earned talk of being a potential superstar with the defending African champions. He now has a chance to lead, not just support. His clubmate Amadou Haidara will anchor Mali's midfield, the kind of player whose importance becomes clear only when he is missing. Defensively, few stories are bigger than Edmond Tapsoba. At Bayer Leverkusen, he was the rock of an unbeaten league season. With Burkina Faso, he becomes the leader of a team quietly tipped as a dark horse, the calm center in the side that love to break quickly and attack space. For the host, there is a strong Bundesliga flavor too. Bilal El Khanous of Stuttgart has been one of the breakout players in Germany, and he now steps into Moroccan side that expects creativity and courage from him on the home soil.
To say to the fans that we are ready, we feel good, and we are working every day very hard to get this tournament and to get good results. And we all have the same goals: the fans, everybody, and. I think that you know what the goal is.
Add on others like LSC, Ben Zakir, and Algeria's Bundesliga contingent, and you have a tournament that directly links back to Germany stadiums every week. Beyond stars, every AFCON is also a talent fair, a place where the next big thing first appears on the global radar. Bilal is still in his early 20s, but already carries a big share of creativity responsibility for both club and the country. Jan Diomande fits the same profile. Physically ready for elite football, technically sharp, and now stepping into a leadership role for Ivory Coast. And then there is also emotional returns. Players coming back from long injuries just in time for the tournament, or veterans playing what might be their final AFCON, chasing one last deep run before they say goodbye. So who can actually win this tournament? Morocco, as host and the World Cup semi-finalists, carry the heaviest mix of quality and expectation. Anything less than a semi-final will be seen as a failure by many fans. Ivory Coast arrive as defending champions, full of players performing weekly on Europe's top leagues, eager to prove their last title was not a one-off. Senegal remain a model of stability, with a strong spine and a group that knows how to win knockout games. Egypt and Algeria bring the history, giants who feel they have underachieved in recent years and who view this AFCON as a chance to reset the narrative. The top nations are very close in level. On paper, maybe 5 or 6 can win it, but AFCON has taught us that one red card, one injury, or one crazy night can open the door for a dark horse. For the dark horses could be Burkina Faso, South Africa, Democratic Republic of Congo, or Gabon. Teams with enough talent to knock out a heavyweight and ride the momentum deep into the tournament. From Rabat to Marrakesh, from Lagos to Leipzig, AFCON 2025 is more than a football bonanza. It is promising to be a month where family schedules will likely move around, kick-off times, and WhatsApp groups may explode with voice notes, with local talent and players from Bundesliga stepping into the most intense atmosphere African football can offer. For me, George Okachi, I will be supporting Uganda.
Yes, so that is George Okachi with the preview to the AFCON. And the AFCON is starting in a few days. And listen, this is the best competition, especially around this time of winter. And so you should definitely make it a point to catch the AFCON. We will be bringing you the updates in our bulletins here at DW Africa. You can also follow it on our Facebook page. We're bringing you the score lines and who is progressing, who is winning, who is losing, and all of that. Follow us on our platforms, YouTube, DW Africa link, and also on Facebook, DW Africa. This is where you can get the latest on the biggest competition on the continent. And here we are covering the Bundesliga game between Hamburg and Frankfurt. So far, the scoreline is 1-1. Hamburg was the team to take the lead in the opening minutes of this game. They went up very, very early on in the game, and unfortunately, they haven't been able to hold on to that lead. They went up in the 19th minute through Lokonga, and then only 7 minutes later, Larsen from Frankfurt equalized. And so far, the game has stabilized. Both sides checking each other out. But Hamburg is slightly up ahead when it comes in terms of their attacking flair and going forward and creating chances. But on the final third of that page, they have been lacking in terms of being clinical in front of the Frankfurt goal. And hopefully, during the halftime break, their coach would have had some discussions with the team to be able to do something different, because they need to take the chances that they are getting. Otherwise, it's going to be a long, long night for them. Don't forget, they lost last week 4-1 against Hoffenheim. And so this week is redemption. So Paulsen has a lot of talking to do to his squad in order for them to come away. At least, I expect his goal would be to get a 3-point from this game. I am Mike Lutti, and I'm doing this commentary with Alex Sesto.
Indeed, Michael, I think it's been a fiercely contested first half. 1-1 the scoreline, as you said. I think the draw is a fair reflection at the halfway point. It was a half of few clear chances, but both sides took their chance when they had it to score, and neither team really controlling the game. So all this sets up what promises to be an exciting second half. The scoreline 1-1 here. As you said, Hamburg, the slightly better side, risking a little bit more and going forward with more passion, shall we say. But Frankfurt, I think it's fair to say, Michael, that both teams look as if they're longing for the winter break to come. They look tired, and Frankfurt, I think, look really tired. Don't forget, they've got Champions League football to contend with. They have, of course, been beaten heavily in the Champions League this season. 5-1 Frankfurt lost to Liverpool at home, and they lost also 5-1 to Atletico Madrid in Madrid. It's been a difficult season in Europe for Frankfurt. It doesn't look as if they're going to make it to the next round, but I think the sides, the teams, the clubs involved in Europe, they struggle a little bit in the Bundesliga because they maybe haven't got the squad to cope with two massive competitions like the Champions League and the Bundesliga. We saw it even seems to be affecting Bayern Munich, who last week faced Mainz at the Allianz and amazingly could only draw 2-2 with Mainz. That was some surprise, I tell you. Only 2-2 with Mainz. Mainz bottom of the table and getting a very unexpected draw at the home of Bayern. So what can we do? 2-2. They got a point, Mainz there at Bayern, and Bayern really looking tired. as we see Frankfurt coming onto the pitch, and it is Helmut, the young Danish player, coming on. They obviously need a few fresh legs, Eintracht Frankfurt. Oscar Højlund, the Danish central midfielder, used to play for Copenhagen. He's coming on for the second half. Frankfurt obviously tiring, and we'll tell you who's come off for him. It is Bahoya, rather surprisingly, because they needed a little bit more speed on the wing, and they would have had it in Bahoya. But we have to say that we didn't see much of Bahoya. Very good player, though he is. And here we go. 1-1. Dino Topmüller sitting down, the Frankfurt coach, hoping for a rather more, shall we say, sprightly performance by his side. Looking forward to the winter break. But let's put it this way, Michael. It's Hamburg who need the points more desperately than Frankfurt.
Absolutely. They definitely do. They need to redeem themselves from last week's disaster.
Last week's disaster, indeed. Off we go. 1-1 between HSV Hamburg and Eintracht Frankfurt as the visitors win a corner. As we see the flags waving non-stop behind that goal. There's certainly one thing that struck me, Michael, is that they've taken so much time in when they take their corners. Both Hamburg and Frankfurt. Just look at this. He just still hasn't taken the corner. As we see, sadly, something we don't like to see in the Bundesliga, that is pyrotechnic being set off and the referee not allowing play to continue. We've had this very often, and I'm afraid it's the Frankfurt fans, Michael. They've done this quite a few times.
Yeah.
And we can see here one stand in the stadium looks as if it's on fire. It fortunately isn't, but the pyrotechnics, fireworks can be very dangerous, and the Frankfurt supporters...
especially in a crowded stadium with 50,000 people.
Exactly. I mean, just look at that. It looks really dangerous. And you see, this is just going to harm Eintracht Frankfurt. They'll be fined heavily for this again. And the referee not allowing to play to continue. Maybe now, Tobias Stieler allowing the corner to be taken. It's Hamburg who's going to take that corner. Let's hope the fireworks die down. Robin Koch waiting to try and head the ball away. In comes the corner from Hamburg. Headed away well, though, by Eintracht Frankfurt. And we've got Balde battling for possession. But good work there by Oscar Højlund, the youngster who came on a few moments ago. This is Ansgar Knauf. He's in the penalty area there, but he slips at the vital moment. And it was certainly not a foul. And I think Lukonga had certainly every right to go for that ball, and it's going to be a free kick, I would expect, for Hamburg, as we see clearly that Knauf slipped. Ansgar Knauf, the centre forward today for Eintracht, as he's been in the last few weeks. He's the man also who scored in Barcelona in the Champions League for Eintracht in a game that they lost 2-1, but performed quite well and took a lot of courage from that performance in Barcelona. But I think their Champions League chances are over. They are in the bottom half of the table, Eintracht Frankfurt. Don't look as if they're going to progress. Müheim with the throw for Hamburg. Well, those fireworks, fortunately, have subsided. And let's hope the players haven't lost their rhythm through that little interruption there. Højlund on the ball. Oscar Højlund, signed from Copenhagen, and looking really very eager in these opening moments of the second half. Frankfurt finding space, looking really lively in these opening minutes. Here they come. This is Modahoud on the ball. Plays it to his right. They've not made any inroads, though. They've not gained any space, but they're playing the ball around with confidence in that little corner of the pitch. Now maybe they can open up Eintracht Frankfurt. This is Robin Koch, the captain, and Eintracht looking a little bit more lively than they did in the first half. Here's Rasmus Christensen plays the ball across. This is Eintracht Frankfurt trying to build. Aurel Amenda, the Swiss international. And the ball played back, though, to Daniel Heuer Fernandez, who is a German-Portuguese keeper, been in the Hamburg goal for a very long time, and certainly made it his position. No other goalkeeper really threatening to take it from him at Hamburg, as Vuskovic plays the ball out to El Fadli. Daniel El Fadli on the ball, plays it back to the keeper. The keeper's well out of his goal, which is dangerous. He's not far from the centre circle, Heuer Fernandez, but plays it safe to El Fadli, and El Fadli back to Heuer Fernandez. Well, we're not really making inroads. No goals in Cologne between Cologne and Union Berlin. Promoted Cologne winless in 5 Bundesliga games after that Rhine derby loss against Leverkusen last week. And the Billy Goats of Cologne, they've won just one of their last 8 Bundesliga matches, slipping to within 5 points of the relegation zone as a result. And they certainly want to stop that slide. Union, they played very well last week against Leipzig. They beat them 3-1. Steffen Baumgart returning to Cologne, the club he once coached, but still no goals there. Stanley Nsoki, French-Congolese player there. Derek Kern, German-Ghanaian, on Union's books, as is Oluwaseun Ogbemudia, he's German-Nigerian, and the big name is Ilyas Ansar, the German-Ghanaian, who's been amongst the goals this season. Very good striker, Ilyas Ansar, but still no goals between Cologne and Union Berlin there, as Frankfurt try to build in the centre circle. Slow build-up this, because Hamburg are beginning to press as much as they can, but Frankfurt doing well to keep possession. They're showing their experience there, and the ball goes into touch, and it's a Frankfurt throw. Frankfurt, obviously the more mature side, Michael.
Absolutely. They've been in the Bundesliga for much longer. They have a lot of experience finishing in the top half of the Bundesliga, and all of these come into play in games like this. Unfortunately, it is the truth that Hamburg, the newly promoted side, is still struggling, and probably here buoyed by their fans, and they need to redeem themselves from last week. But if they let slip, Frankfurt is going to take advantage.
Exactly, because Hamburg, strangely very passive in these opening minutes of the second half, and Eintracht Frankfurt have looked better, especially through the introduction of Oscar Hölmund, the Danish midfielder there. He's looked lively and he's been running around a lot and demanding the ball. Here's Mo Dahoud, plays the ball across to Aurel Amenda. Back to Hölmund, back to Amenda. They're certainly enjoying that possession, Eintracht Frankfurt. They're looking much more confident and much calmer than in those opening minutes of the first half, where it looked as if Hamburg could really open them up time after time. They're in the centre circle, though, Frankfurt, not really making any inroads. This is Amenda on the ball, finds Hölmund. Amazing the amount of touches he's had, the young Dane, since coming on. Plays it back to Robin Koch. The defender, he finds Mo Dahoud. Mo Dahoud plays it to the wing, and Hamburg taking up their position to try and press when Frankfurt enter their half, but Hölmund does very well, slips the ball forward to Ansgar Knauf. Ansgar Knauf tries to get the ball across, and it's a corner to Eintracht Frankfurt. Frankfurt definitely taking the initiative and looking the better side. What do you think, Michael?
Definitely this time round, Capaldo was right there to block that cross by Knauf, but Knauf speeding down the left-hand side and causing problems, trying to cause problems for Hamburg from that left-hand side.
Corner to Eintracht. Christensen coming up for this one. Rasmus Christensen, another Dane in the Frankfurt side. In comes the corner. It's close to the goal, but picked up once more by Eintracht Frankfurt. Good ball in the penalty area, cleared easily though by Hamburg, but it's picked up by Eintracht Frankfurt. The ball slipped forward, but that was a poor pass, and Frankfurt giving the ball away needlessly, but it's played right back to their keeper, Michael Setterer, who could have done a little bit better with that shot when Lukonga beat him. Vuskovic has gone down. They won't want to lose Vuskovic, Luka Vuskovic, and Merlin Polsin, the Hamburg coach, looking a little bit perturbed because he won't want to lose his big centre half there. Merlin Polsin not a star name among the coaches. He's coached the Hamburg youth sides, and he's coached the Osnabrück youth sides, which is a second division club, and he's coached Hamburg as an assistant, and then he was given the job in 2024. I'm not really sure if he's got enough experience to help his side remain in the Bundesliga. Now, that might be a little bit unfair on my part, but I'd expect a bigger name at such a big club than Merlin Polsing. Here they are in the center circle. They is, of course, Eintracht Frankfurt. On the ball, here comes Nathaniel Brown, cuts inside. Frankfurt still with a lot of possession. The ball played across, but it goes into touch, and it's a throw into Eintracht. The ball coming off Muheim. Well, the inexperience of this Hamburg side suddenly being shown. Surprisingly, I didn't expect Frankfurt to come into the second half so dominantly as they have been. There they are on the ball. Long ball into the penalty area. They're trying to pick out Brown. Brown hits it first time. Still dangerous here, but out comes Heuer Fernandes. Time for Hamburg to calm down and to try and trouble the Frankfurt defense. But I think that was the wrong move by Heuer Fernandes. He just booted it upfield.
It was certainly the wrong move there. There was nobody up front.
Yeah, they should have tried to start building from the back.
Behind. Unfortunately, Hamburg lost possession again, and Frankfurt mounts another attack.
This is Knopf. Seems to have left his centre-forward position, has ventured more out onto the wing. Eintracht Frankfurt looking good. This is Aurel Amenda. Amenda plays it to his right. Good football this by Eintracht, we have to say. They've settled down really well. Namandi Collins there on the ball. The German-Nigerian used to be on Borussia Dortmund's books as a youth player. And Frankfurt still in possession. I'm amazed. It's seldom that we've seen an away side who was under the cosh so much in the first half come back and really dominate proceedings here. Opportunity here for Christensen to get a shot on goal, but it trickles through. Frankfurt have had almost all of the ball so far, but to be quite honest, they've also struggled to beat Hamburg's low block. But it's the visitors and their supporters who are enjoying the early minutes of this second half. Frankfurt, once again, pick up the ball. This is amazing, Michael.
I just can't believe why Hamburg cannot hold on to possession. They seem to have lost that ability that they had in the first half to play the ball on the pitch, to string the passes together and to move forward. Now all they're trying to do is to hit the ball up ahead and get one of their strikers to run up to it, and that is not working.
It's certainly not working for the home side, but it seems to be working for Eintracht Frankfurt. Long ball onto the wing there, and it's cleared unceremoniously there by Hamburg, who have lost completely the grip of the midfield. Lokonga and Nikolai Remberg, they're being overrun by Frankfurt, and the wide men, Miro Muheim and William Michel-Broncy, well, we've not seen them really, have we, causing any runs to disturb Eintracht Frankfurt. Here is Oscar Højlund, who's impressed me a lot since coming on. This is Mo Dahoud. Mo Dahoud on the ball. Plays it forward, good 1-2, but the move breaks down and the ball played back to Heuer Fernandes, who clears it downfield. But look at that pass, Michael.
It was such a terrible pass, Alex. We were just speaking about this a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
He just put the ball out into touch, and Frankfurt is back again in possession.
He had time to pick a pass, and he just played it into touch, Heuer Fernandes. Frankfurt in possession once more. Certainly look the more mature side in this second half, but you never know what can happen in football because Hamburg can catch them on the break, but it doesn't look like it now. Good tackle there on Ritso Doan by Miro Muheim, and he concedes a corner. Good tackle in the nick of time, got his leg wrapped around Ritso Doan and propelling the ball into touch. Miro Muheim, and congratulations from El Fadli, who gives him a friendly tap on the head. It's going to be a corner for Eintracht, taken by Ritso Doan, the man who got the winning goal last week against Augsburg. Plenty of Eintracht players coming up. In he comes, it's a Doan. All they need is a good shot on target. Oh, it's a brilliant save by the keeper, Daniel Hoyer Hernandez. That was a really good save, Michael.
It was a really, really good effort there. I should say, Hoyer Fernandez rescued that ball from the line. It was certainly going in for Frankfurt, and that last touch helped Hamburg to avoid conceding the second goal.
Ansgar Knauf falling, got to the ball. I think it came off Moda Hood, who was right in front of the penalty of the goalkeeper, but Hoyer Fernandez pulling off a brilliant one-handed save there and denying Eintracht Frankfurt. Great save by the Hamburg keeper there. It's 1-1 at the Volkspark Stadium. And time for some substitutions, or, yes, indeed, it's time for some Hamburg substitutions, because obviously the coach sees that his side basically have lost control of that midfield. So Sumahoro coming on, Abubakar Sumahoro, he's French-Ivorian, and we'll tell you who the other one is in a minute. So they're certainly taking the time, and it's Jatta coming on. Jatta for Hamburg. Let's see, Bakary Jatta, he's the man from the Gambia. So fresh legs on for Hamburg, and I really think they deserve a few fresh legs there. So Daniel El Fadli taken off for Abubakar Sumahoro. I thought El Fadli had a good game actually till now, but Abubakar Sumahoro, the French-Ivorian coming on, used to play for Paris FC, which is, of course, not Paris Saint-Germain, but there's a smaller club in Ligue 1 called Paris Football Club. They were actually formed a little bit before PSG. So Sumahoro coming on, and of course, Bakary Jatta is the man who's come on for William Michel Blancy, who had a quiet game till now. So the hour mark gone. Bakary Jatta on. Let's see if they can somehow prevent Eintracht from having so much possession. Eintracht still in command, though, playing the ball around. Well, Michael, this shows the maturity. Frankfurt are a more mature side than Hamburg.
They certainly are the more experienced one as well. You can see how they string the balls together, how they fall back, how they defend, how they go forward. These are things that so far in the second half, for many minutes, Hamburg has been lacking at.
Frankfurt swarming forward. Good tackle, though, and the crowd liked that. Fine tackle. And it was once more that man, Oscar Højlund, who was threatening to break through. So we've got three Scandinavians on the pitch for Eintracht. Rasmus Christensen, he's Danish. Oscar Højlund, he's Danish. And Hugo Larsson, he's Swedish. And Frankfurt certainly showing the more mature side in this second half. And you know what, Michael? I'd be even inclined to say that Hamburg looked like a second division side in a cup game against the experienced Bundesliga side. Ritsu Doan concedes possession, and it's just a long, hopeful ball out of the fence by Hamburg. Picked up once more by Eintracht. Surely that goal's coming. Surely Eintracht have got to get a reward for all the possession they've had in this second half. Larsson picks it up. Good football this by Eintracht. Larsson once more slips the ball forward. Brilliant football. This is Ritsu Doan. Ritsu Doan. But the ball runs through and they don't get their reward yet. So, amazing turnaround, but Frankfurt not rewarding themselves at all for all the possession they've had. Still no goals between Augsburg and Werder Bremen. And the move breaks down here, but certainly plenty of goals between Wolfsburg and Freiburg, because the scoreline there is 2-2. Vecinovic got his second there, and Italian international Vincenzo Grifo from a penalty spot made it 2-2. Wolfsburg 2, Augsburg 2. The Wolves now unbeaten in 3 Bundesliga games, with Daniel Bauer, their new coach, continuing to impress. He is, however, in an interim role, Daniel Bauer. following Paul Simone's dismissal as head coach. That was tough to take. Freiburg, though, they failed to win on the road in the Bundesliga this season, would you believe? Collecting a couple of goalless draws and 3 defeats, but they're doing reasonably well there. 2-2 at Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg, of course, with plenty of players of African descent. Sael Kamboudi, he's French-Congolese, on loan from Lyon. Mathis Angeli, he's Martiniquais and Malagasy descent. Then, of course, with that, Mo Amoura, the Algerian striker, he's at the AFCON, of course. Maurice Jens, he's got an Algerian father and a German mother. And 2-2 the scoreline there. And Freiburg, of course, with plenty of African descent in their squad too. And that was a terrible collision there between a Frankfurt player and a Hamburg player. It's Christensen who took a heavy clash there. Oh dear, he looks as if he's in trouble. They don't want him to swallow his tongue. It's one of those terrible moments where the player goes down. They need help. Christensen on the ground. It was a terrible clash there, colliding cruelly with Muheim in midfield. And for a few seconds, it looked as if he might have swallowed his tongue had it not been for the quick first aid by his teammates. He's being surrounded by medical staff now, Christensen. Let's hope things work out, that he gets up once more. Medical staff round him, and he looks to be talking again. But for that second, Michael, it looked really tough.
Very, very, very. It's really, really hard to watch when in 1 minute you've got a player who is actively there on the pitch, and then in the next minute, his colleagues are running to him, trying to open his airways because he seemed unresponsive. Fortunately, it looks like he is responsive now, and we still have the first aid team medical staff responding, talking to both players still on the pitch.
We mustn't forget Muheim. He too, the Hamburg player, also spread on the pitch. That was a very tough collision. Let's hope they'll be both okay.
Okay, so now we can see that both players seem to be up, if I'm not mistaken. Seem to be up sitting on the pitch. So that is good news.
That's good news, but it looked really tough for Christensen for a few seconds. And Muheim, he seems to be conscious again. It was a terrible collision. Christensen, well, I think he should be taken off. What do you think, Michael? He has got to his feet, as has Muheim. I think that, we watched the replay again. It was a terrible collision, and it's good to see them standing. If I could give them any advice, it would be go off, boys, and recover from that collision. But Muheim looks okay. He's taking a swig from a plastic bottle of water, and he seems all right. And the referee, Tobias Stieler, asking him if he's okay. Christensen has left the field, and the medical staff are taking a look at him to see if he can continue. I quite frankly think they both shouldn't continue, Michael. What do you think?
I agree. They should get some more checks done. After such a strong, hard collision, I would say they should get thoroughly checked.
They should. They're drinking a lot of water, and it looks as if both of them are coming on again. Well, that's good news on the one hand, but it might be shake hands there between Christensen and Miro Muheim. And back they come. That is good news on the one hand, but maybe a bit irresponsible on the other. I'm sure their thoughts won't be focused on this game. Goodness, bit of drama there, but fortunately things working out well for both of them. So, can Frankfurt resume the intense pressure that they've inflicted on HSV Hamburg, the home side? Here is Eintracht Frankfurt trying to build. They're in the centre circle. I just wonder if that little collision will have any effect on Frankfurt's game. Here's Dahoud. The ball played into the centre circle. The ball played to Amenda. On the ball here for Eintracht Frankfurt. Well, they still look well composed and keeping control of the ball. The ball played out here to the right-hand side to Nathaniel Brown. And there was a little foul, a little push on the Hamburg player. Still 1-1 here between Hamburg and Eintracht Frankfurt. Match day 15 of the Bundesliga coming to you from DW Radio, as always, on a Saturday afternoon at the same time. Substitution for Hamburg. Fabio Vieira, on loan from Arsenal, is the man getting ready to come on. And the staff having a little word with Jatta. Poulsen there, we can see him on crutches. And I think Fabio Baldi is the man coming off for Fabio Vieira. The two Portuguese players, Fabio Vieira coming on. And, well, you just wonder what Hamburg can hope for. Michael, should Hamburg just hang on and be happy with the point?
I think they should go in for a win, Alex. I think
really?
they can go in for a win. They just need to play better football.
Yeah. At the end of the action in this half of the Bundesliga season, Augsburg still 0-0 with Werder Bremen. Augsburg sit just 2 points clear of the bottom three after that narrow defeat against Frankfurt last time out. And here comes Hamburg trying to open up the Frankfurt defence, but good play there by Frankfurt, and they got hold of the ball once more. Not looking too fit, Hamburg, if I may say so. They're all over the place, and I keep having to point out there's far too much distance between the players, and Frankfurt, though, failing to take advantage of that. Clever back heel that was by Fabio Vieira. Here come Hamburg, but good defending that was by Aurel Aminda. The ball goes into touch and time. Two more substitutions for Eintracht Frankfurt. Plenty of action when it comes to the substitutions here. Let's see who these players are who are coming on. Baum coming on for Frankfurt, Elias Baum, and Can Uzun, the Turkish midfielder, coming on. Elias Baum is a 20-year-old player who's made a name for himself in Frankfurt, and on comes Uzun. He is well known, Can Uzun, and a lot of Frankfurt fans were full of hope to see him team up with Mario Götze, but Götze rather injury prone at the late stages of his career, and Capaldo there doing well to, as we see Yusuf Poulsen giving some advice on his crutches there. That is some picture, Michael.
It is.
He's so involved, Yusuf Poulsen. Corner to Hamburg. The supporters are still very positive, the Hamburg supporters. It's going to be a corner to be taken by Miro Muheim, the man who was on the floor a few moments ago. Fortunately, he looks to have recovered well from that terrible collision with Christensen. Corner comes in. It's a very high one, but it goes way past the post there. It was a header. Muheim taking up his position once more and trying to keep some sort of shape. Hamburg certainly not keeping their shape enough. Now, you just don't know where the players are. They're running all over the place. And Frankfurt look the better side, but they concede possession here. And Hamburg give it up, but they concede possession as they come swarming forward. This is Ritzo Doan. Good ball forward for Ansar Knauf to chase. This is Doan. Plays it to Knauf. Knauf in the penalty area. Can he get a shot on target? Knauf. Good defending, though, there by Jatta. It was. Knauf maybe should have done a little bit better there, but he just saw, he took his chance and shot. Not really good shots on target, I have to say, Michael.
That is true, Alex. That shot was, the angle was very tight, and there were a lot of Hamburg players in the way, but he still went ahead and took the shot. He was just speculating.
So Werder Bremen just 0-0 there in Augsburg. Werder winless in 4 after that heavy home loss against Stuttgart last week. They've fallen to 12th, Werder Bremen, And Augsburg also struggling, just 2 points clear of the bottom three. But they looked good last week against Frankfurt. Plenty of players of African descent there too for Augsburg. Chrislin Matsima, he's French-Congolese. Hannoa Masengo, he's French-Congolese too, and he's one of the best holding midfielders in the Bundesliga, I'd say. Samuel Asende, he's Congolese, and he's off to the AFCON, of course. They'll miss him. Steve Mounier, he might be on loan in Turkey, but he too is at the AFCON. And, of course, Ismail Gabi, he's Tunisian, he too at the AFCON. So plenty of players there, of Augsburg players, that is, at the AFCON. And, of course, they've got Claude Maurice, Alexis Claude Maurice, French roots. His family, though, from Madagascar. And Ayman Dardari, he's Moroccan. So Augsburg and Leverkusen, I think, certainly missing their players who are at the AFCON. And Werder Bremen, of course, they've got Victor Boniface. We mustn't forget him, the Nigerian. Karim Koulibaly, German, French, Ivorian. And Samuel Mbangula, he's Belgian-Congolese. So plenty of players of African descent there. Isaac Schmidt of Werder Bremen, Swiss father, Nigerian mother, as we see the Frankfurt fans giving their support to Ritso Doan before he takes that corner. On that far side, Ritso Doan raises his arm. Frankfurt have been in possession all of this half, all of this second half, and Ansgar Knauf does well to pick the ball up. It's all about the cross now, but it's headed away by Hamburg. Hamburg have gone to pieces, Michael, and they can consider themselves very lucky that they've not conceded another goal.
And Alex, I think in the second half, Ransford Königsdorfer hasn't really touched the ball in the second half. And it took me a minute to realize he's still in the game.
Yes, the big centre forward. We've hardly seen him today. He's not got much service. Hamburg just boot it upfield again. Just look at that. No build-up, no idea. They've lost complete control of the midfield and are just kicking the ball out of their penalty area, upfield into the Frankfurt half, giving Frankfurt the opportunity to try and build once more. This is Mulderhul taking his time in the centre circle. Frankfurt have got plenty of options, and certainly it's just a matter of time before they score their second goal here. But the ball headed away out of defence by Hamburg. Heavy tackle there, but play on says to be a Stieler. Here come Frankfurt once more. It's all about Can Uzun now, because he can hit some passes that can open up any defence. The Turkish midfielder who joined from Nuremberg. A little bit of space now for Elias Baum. The ball played in the penalty area. Cleared though by Hamburg. Clever 1-2 here by Frankfurt. Chance, poor. Can Uzun, the ball played back, and the ball unbelievably not going to the goal, and Hamburg clear that ball, and you can hear the roar of the crowd as if they'd scored a goal, but it was for the double clearance. Some dramatic moments here, Michael.
It was certainly dramatic. That goal rescued off the line by Hamburg. It was a combination of the goalkeeper, the defenders, everybody throwing their body on the line to prevent that goal.
Amazing scenes, and they get away with it, Hamburg, but they've not managed to trouble the Frankfurt defence once in this second half, and they're hanging on by the skin of their teeth to this 1-1 draw. Robin Koch plays the ball out to the wing. The ball played back. Frankfurt in control. Nathaniel Brown. Brown on the ball. Finds Aurel Amenda. Amenda, though, plays the ball all the way back to Michael Setterer, who used to, of course, play for Werder Bremen, Michael Setterer. And Hamburg with a tentative attack. They don't look as if they really believe it themselves there, but the ball at least was played into the Frankfurt penalty area, and that was Ransford Königsdorfer, the German Ghanaian, almost getting a foot to the ball, but only almost, as Frankfurt turn on the pressure once more. They are the more mature side. You can see they are experienced, and Hamburg, I got to say it again, Michael, looking very much like a second division side here.
But Alex, I should also say that it's been a very fair game so far.
Yeah.
No yellow card, no red card.
Very true, very
And
true.
we've played almost 80 minutes,
Yeah.
and the referee has been very reluctant to show any cards in this game.
As Eintracht try to build. There's Christensen on that far side. Long ball forward onto the wing here to Ritsu Doan, who's come across, switching wings. We saw him on the right wing, now he's just below us on the left wing as Eintracht Frankfurt try to continue their onslaught, shall we say, but they've not really made the most of their chances. It was just amazing that they didn't get the ball over the line a few moments ago. Knauf going in there, but Hamburg getting plenty of bodies behind the ball. And can they catch Frankfurt on the break now? It's 3 against 3. Hamburg coming forward. Fabio Vieira, chance here for Vieira, and
it's
he
a
puts
goal!
the home side. Fabio Vieira, the Portuguese player on loan from Arsenal, comes onto the pitch and puts Hamburg 2-1 up. Now, you would forgive Frankfurt supporters to saying it's not a fair scoreline.
It isn't fair, but this was against the run of play, Alex.
Yeah, they took it
was
really
just
well.
one lucky break that Hamburg got, and the ball was played all the way from the 18-yard box. It found Königsdorfer, who ran all the way along the center circle, and he laid
Brilliant pass.
a very, very cool pass.
I don't think he was offside, and he took it really well, Fabio Vieira. It was a fine pass from Königsdorfer, and it was well taken by the Portuguese player, Fabio Vieira. And I think that goal's going to stand. But you never know these days, Michael, because of the VAR. It takes away so much. And he's having a word with VAR.
There's a check happening.
There's a check, but
it seems to me a very clean and well taken goal. But yeah, I mean, VAR probably.
That would have been okay. He's going to have a look. Oh, let's see. I'm afraid the goal's not going to count.
Für Hamburg überprüft. Im Vorfeld lag eine Abseitsstellung von Nummer 20 vor. Finale Entscheidung, indirekter Freistoß, Abseits.
No goal. No goal. All the excitement for nothing. It was a brilliant goal, and I just don't understand why these rules aren't somehow modified. It was a great goal from Fabio Vieira, a brilliant attack. That must have been, well, how can you call it offside? It was a fingernail that was offside.
It was, from where I stand, it didn't look like an offside. It looked very, very, very clean. It was well-worked goal. And, I mean, this sometimes VAR takes the excitement out of the game.
Yeah, that goal should have stood. I think offside should be given when it's clear. A bigger part of the body offside, an arm or a leg, but not just these fingernail decisions. Quite amazing that goal, all the excitement for Hamburg, although it would have been probably undeserved, we have to say, but all the excitement there for nothing. Well, there's a Hamburg player on the floor. Jessic Ingankam has now come on for Eintracht, the German Cameroonian who started his career at Hertha Berlin. Goodness me, I can't believe that goal was disallowed, Michael. Sorry.
It should, it should definitely have stood. And you can tell that the entire stadium erupted when that goal was scored. Because up until that point, Hamburg had been under a lot of assault by Frankfurt. And this was a relief. At least they get a 3 points out of this game. But the referee and VAR have other ideas. And I hope that they are going to be able to pick themselves back and come back into this game. Because if they keep playing the way they've been playing the last 10 minutes, then it's going to be very, very likely that Frankfurt wins. So we're watching the review here of that VAR decision. Alex, as you said, it was a fingernail decision. Offside by a fingernail.
And it was taken so well. Of course, we have football supporters who say, well, offside is offside. You know, that's their argument. But I still don't think that it should be such slim decisions. I'd appeal and say a greater part of the body must be visibly offside before you disallow the goal. And it was a fine goal too. It was a very well taken goal, as off goes a Frankfurt player, Elias Baum, the man who came on a few moments ago. I don't know what happened. He must have taken a knock. Elias Baum, the youngster, taken off after coming on for Rasmus Christensen, or is he just going off for treatment? Not really sure. Did you see that, Michael?
I'm not sure what happened, but it seems like he's probably going to come back in.
Aurelio Buta, though, has come on, so it looks as if Baum must have picked up an injury. That's tough for the youngster because he's not been on the pitch for very long. Aurelio Buta comes on, the Portuguese Angolan, so that must be tough for Baum. What do you think? Right. Difficult times.
Very, very difficult decision here. I see him shaking his head as he walks off the pitch. That's a player's worst nightmare to sustain an injury that probably would rule him out of the game, given that he came on only a few minutes ago.
Yeah, shaking his head. And Hamburg brought back to reality from that VAR check. Fabio Vieira's good goal disallowed for a minimal offside call there. I hope the AFCON won't be influenced by too many of these narrow offside decisions, but that's the way football is these days. VAR has a major part to play, and too many good goals are ruined by VAR. Frankfurt, they've got just under 5 minutes of normal time to try and wrestle the 3 points away from Hamburg. Rizzo Doan. Good football this by Frankfurt. Still good football. Doan in the centre circle, the Japanese international. Good ball forward, but out comes the goalkeeper, Hoyer Fernandes, but it's picked up once more by Doan. This is Højlund, who's looked good in this second half, but the ball given away there by Hamburg, and it goes into touch. No, it doesn't. It's bouncing on the touchline there, and Hamburg try to free themselves from their grip, from the grip of Frankfurt. It's picked up, though, once more by the visitors. Frankfurt still looking good, but can Hamburg hit them on the break? Long ball forward, but good defending there by Robin Koch, the Eintracht captain. Well, you'll probably see him at the World Cup for Germany. The former Leeds United defender, Robin Koch. And yet another substitution or two for Hamburg. Off comes Ransdorf, Königsdorfer, and we've got Ferrari coming on, and Goichel Lafili, the Georgian. So Ferrari, who just became a father recently, so congratulations from the commentary point. And Emmanuel Ferrari used to play for Braunschweig. He comes from Suriname, the Netherlands. On he comes for the remaining moments. He comes on for Königsdorfer, who, apart from that brilliant pass, Michael, we didn't see too much of Königsdorfer, did we?
We haven't. He's been lost in the second half, unfortunately. And he was totally marked out by the Frankfurt players. This game hasn't been his game.
So the Georgian Goichel Lefili comes on for Rayon Philippe, who had a quiet game himself. Hamburg just, quite frankly, not too good up front. We have to say that. I mean, I guess they're missing Jean-Luc Dompe. In and out of the side, injured, of course. But he can make such a difference, Dompe. But not available today. Not available today. Just a couple of minutes remaining for Frankfurt to try and grab a deserved lead and the 3 points. Long ball forward, the ball played across, but good defending that was by Hamburg, by Vuskovic, the 18-year-old who's become a major figure in the Hamburg defense there. Long ball forward, corner to Eintracht. Well, they'll be saying that they certainly deserve to get a winner here. corner taken short, and it goes out of play, and it's a goal kick to Hamburg. Can Uzun not doing too well there. And we've got some supporters with a Georgian flag there, and they're very happy to see their countrymen on the pitch. Georgi Oshlaishvili, who joined from Shakhtar Donetsk and has looked good in the couple of games he's had here in the Bundesliga. He certainly looked good. We mustn't forget that Eintracht, of course, were not too long ago hammered 6-0 in the Bundesliga by RB Leipzig, but they've come to terms well. They reacted well last week by beating Augsburg narrowly 1-0, but today I guess they'll argue that they'd have deserved the 3 points. Just 1 minute of normal time remaining here in Hamburg as Fabio Vieira, the man who thought he'd put Hamburg ahead, goes to the ground. Hamburg unbeaten in their last 3 home games, winning 2 against Stuttgart and Werder Bremen and drawing against Dortmund. And as it looks, they'd probably get a draw here against Eintracht Frankfurt, who've looked the better side. Quite frankly, they've definitely looked the better side. The fastest player on the pitch, Balde, the Portuguese player, after 90 minutes, 35.4 kilometers. And Bakary Jaka, the man from the Gambia, although he's only been on for a few minutes, 33.9. And the fastest Frankfurt player, Nathaniel Brown, 33.2 kilometers. And let's see what the final minutes, how long we'll have of added time. I guess we'll have a fair chunk of added time because of the injury to those 2 players we had at the beginning of the second half. Plus 9 minutes of added time, Michael.
Oh, that's a lot of added time.
Anything can happen in those 9 minutes. So, Frankfurt trying to grab that goal that they deserve, in my view, after their second half performance. They've looked really good. Here is Doğan, Ritsu Doğan, plays the ball across to Can Uzun. Good football in the second half by Eintracht Frankfurt. Excellent football, it must be said. The ball picked up, though, by Hamburg. Can they strike a lucky break here? But it's a poor ball by Lukonga. But he's the man who put Hamburg 1-0 up. Oh, that was a foul on the edge of the penalty area, but it was offside. So it's all happening. It's still all happening at the Volkspark Stadium. It's 1-1 between Hamburg and Eintracht Frankfurt on match day 15 of the Bundesliga. So... And strangely enough, this game could go anywhere. Would you believe Freiburg are now 4-3 up at Wolfsburg? Goals falling the whole time. Scherhan putting Freiburg 4-3 up, would you believe? And an own goal by Seelt made it 3-3. And Scherhan now making it 4-3 to Freiburg. What a scoreline there. And Union Berlin, they've taken the lead in Cologne. It's Cologne 0, Union Berlin 1. And Andres Schäfer has put them 1-0 up. And there's been a red card for the Cologne player, Van den Berg, being sent off. So Union 1-0 up in Cologne. Cologne's problems continuing, I'm afraid. And the only game, though, 2 games with no goals. Stuttgart 0, Hoffenheim 0, and Augsburg 0, Werder Bremen 0. Here it's 1-1. Plenty of draws on this Saturday. And the referee having a word with Brown and with the Georgian striker. And it's a free kick to be taken by Heuer Fernandes. Long ball forward. The ball bouncing around. Can Hamburg somehow spring a surprise and win this game after being under the cosh for all of this second half? That was a foul on a Frankfurt player, and it gives them the opportunity to try and build. Here they come. This is Namadi Collins. Good ball forward. Frankfurt looking the mature side and certainly causing Hamburg a lot of problems in this second half. You wouldn't think that Hamburg were the home side because they've been so much under pressure by a Frankfurt side who just have not managed to open up that defence.
The entire second half has been dominated by Frankfurt.
It's just amazing. I've seldom seen that, Michael, that an away side has dominated so much after being under the cosh in the first half. It's a very strange game. It must have something to do with stamina, it must have something to do with tiredness, or just with experience. Hamburg just haven't got the experience to deal with an experienced side like Frankfurt, who've got Champions League experience, of course. Hamburg are a second division side who've just come up. I'm sorry to say that, but you never know. Still time remaining for Hamburg to spring a surprise. The ball played back, and it's headed back by Robin Koch to Michael Setterer, formerly of Werder Bremen. Long ball downfield, but Hamburg standing firm. But they just cannot keep possession of that ball. This is Fabio Vieira, gives the ball away again. And that was a foul in the centre circle. Will that be the first yellow card? Muheim once more on the receiving end. Shake hands there. Fortunately, nothing happened. Muheim, of course, on the receiving end of that collision.
Yeah, I can see how that looks, but Alex, I don't think there was any malice involved here.
No, fortunately, as you said, it's been a very fair game, and we've not had any yellow cards as far as I can remember. So, just over 5 minutes of added time, and it's going to be a free kick to Hamburg to be taken by Heuer Fernandes in the centre circle. Still time remaining, of course, for either side to grab a late winner. And that was a foul on a Frankfurt player by Vuskovic, and much to the anger of the crowd, the referee gives a free kick to Frankfurt. Can they build? The ball played forward. Frankfurt still probing, still looking. Long ball forward, trying to split open the Hamburg defence. This is Højlund, Oscar Højlund. Good ball forward, trying to find Ngankam, who came on in the later stages of this second half. This is Højlund once more on the ball, cleared into touch by Muheim, who's had a good game. He's been all over the place, Muheim, the Swiss international there. And it's a throw-in to Eintracht. And they're taking their time now. I think, Michael, both sides would be happy in the end with a draw.
It seems like the fairest outcome for both teams. Given that, but looking at how Frankfurt have played, I would say that they deserved to win this game, but they just haven't found that final finish that would put them ahead.
Yeah, very true. And I think we could see, Michael, that they just lack a target man.
Yeah.
They miss Hugo Ekitike, who's joined Liverpool. They miss Omar Mamouche, who joined Manchester City. They miss Johnny Burkhardt, who's injured, a big new signing from Mainz. So Ansgar Knopf as a centre forward, he's a good striker, but he's not a centre forward. He's not a target man. And that's the trouble. They miss a target man. I think with an out-and-out centre forward, they could have really won the game today, considering the amount of pressure they piled on Hamburg. So, just under 3 minutes of added time remaining, and it's now or never for Eintracht as they try to go forward once more, and Hamburg just try to get the ball away. Anywhere will do. They just boot it downfield. There'll be question marks after this performance on their maturity. Will they really manage to survive in the Bundesliga or not? They're still alive though. Here they come, running forward. The ball played out to the wing. Hamburg coming into the penalty area. Opportunity here. The ball played to the Georgian. Kodjafili on the ball, plays it back. Still a chance. Fabio Vieira, opportunity for Hamburg, but it goes over the crossbar there. And
what a wasted opportunity, Alex.
Yes,
it was such a wasted opportunity.
Bakary Jata with a chance, but he was falling backwards as the ball came towards him, and he just played it over the crossbar. And it was certainly a wasted opportunity, but it was a difficult position for Jata. Hamburg with a late flourish, and that was a foul by Holmund on Vuskovic. And the free kick goes Hamburg's way. And we've just got 1 minute of added time remaining. And Hamburg suddenly waking up. It's strange, Michael, that they suddenly wake up now at the end of the game.
They've got a final bit of energy before we go into the Christmas break, so they put it all on now. 1 minute till the end of the game. They should have woken up a bit more earlier, but yeah.
Free kick to Hamburg. It's now or never. Can they get the winner? That would help them get through the winter a little bit earlier, a little bit more comfortably, I should say. The winter break coming up. And the supporters behind that goal certainly making an amazing amount of noise. In comes the ball, headed across the penalty area. Surely that was a push on a Hamburg player. Let's see what's going to happen now, but I think it's offside to be a Stieler. It was a push on Lukonga there, I would have said, but Stieler saw an offside position and stopped play. That certainly was a push, though.
It was a push, but...
Two pushes, actually, but it was offside. And there goes the half-time whistle. The game finishing 1-1 here at the Volkspark Stadium. And it was certainly a good performance by Eintracht Frankfurt, but they just could not find the back of the net. Hamburg will be very grateful for the point because they were really pushed back by Eintracht in this second half. And when you look at Hamburg's coaching staff, Michael, they look as if they've won.
They can't go away with this from this game thinking they have won, because looking at the kind of game that Frankfurt played in the second half, it's a surprise the scoreline remained 1-1. Hamburg was totally and absolutely outplayed in the second half. And it's a surprise that Frankfurt couldn't win this game with more than two goals. And so going into the winter break, they can go out with their heads held high, having never lost in the last couple of games at home. And that would be a very, very good a record for them to have going for that winter break. And you could tell that in the second half, the players were simply waiting for the game to end so they can wrap it all up, because they had no energy, no drive to go forward. We only saw their drive in the last, 30 seconds of extra time. That's when they really came back into the game. But for the last couple of games, they've been totally lost, and they've been outplayed, and they've been dominated by Frankfurt.
Indeed. I think quite frankly, Michael, if Hamburg want to stay in the Bundesliga, they'll have to improve their away form, because it's been dismal till now. They've also had problems with penalties. They were knocked out by second division Kiel out of the German Cup on penalties, and they've missed the 2 penalties in the Bundesliga that they've had. And something very important is that they have the lowest distance covered of all Bundesliga sides. They cover around 115 kilometers, which is not enough if you want to remain in the Bundesliga. And the team that covered the most in the Bundesliga is Hoffenheim, and they covered 120 kilometers last week, and they hammered Hamburg. So I think that's where they have to improve in terms of space covered, distance covered, and their away form.
And perhaps a bit of stamina as well, because it looks like in the second half, in the 50-50 duels, they weren't in them. They couldn't go in for the ball, and this idea of just trying to boot the ball out of danger.
Maybe they were just very tired.
They definitely need to work on all of these, because they need to be able to hold the ball, because being able to hold the ball is the first point you need to reach in order to, create chances. And in the second half, they weren't holding the ball, they weren't controlling the possession, and as such, they weren't making any chances. They were living quite dangerously, and they are lucky to come away from this game with a point. But if they want to survive long term in the Bundesliga, this kind of play is not something that's going to get them very far.
Too dangerous,
especially at home in front of the fans. The fans have certainly played their part, but the team is not there yet. They still have a lot to do. To come up to the level of a Bundesliga side.
Very rightly said and put, Michael. Frankfurt can be proud of their performance today. They suffered in the first half, but they were magnificent in the second half. And let me keep repeating, it's because of the lack of having an orthodox centre forward. They just weren't able to find a target man. Well, they just didn't have a target man because Ansgar Knopf is short and he keeps going on to the wing, and they need a target man in central attack.
They definitely need that. And they've lost a lot of players in the last couple of years, but they need to build players into the role or buy new players to fill that role. Because if they are a fairly good side, but they need to make sure that all departments of the team work well. If they are going to be real contenders, not just for the Bundesliga, but also for European competitions, they need to build a proper team. And if they come up against a side like we've seen here this afternoon, and they don't take their chances, it's going to be very difficult if they go up against some of the bigger European clubs.
Well, we saw that they struggle in Europe. They lost 5-1 to Liverpool. They lost 5-1 to Atletico Madrid. They could only draw 0-0 in Naples. So maybe the Champions League a step too far for Frankfurt this season. But if we turn to Hamburg, well, there's a strong bond between them and their supporters, as we can see now, because they're being celebrated as if they've won this game, which will do the Hamburg players a lot of good. But let's face it, they got a point. They'll be happy. Frankfurt may be slightly frustrated, but both teams going to the winter break quite happy, I'd say.
Absolutely. And they can get out of here and look at this game as a win. But also going into the winter break and coming back, they need to think about how they're going to survive the second half of the season.
Indeed.
Because mostly that's when the title is won.
Allow me to quickly give the results of the other games, Michael. Wolfsburg, they've lost at home by 4-3 against Freiburg, would you believe? And no goals between Augsburg and Werder Bremen, 0-0 there. Cologne have lost. They are now slowly slipping down the table. They lost 1-0 to Union in Cologne. And the late kickoff is, of course, Leipzig against Leverkusen.
So Hamburg has gone up. They are sitting at 13th on the table at the moment. Frankfurt still maintains their position at number 7. Bayern Munich, of course, at number 1 with 38 points. We've got Borussia Dortmund with 32 points. And we've got Leipzig at 29. Unfortunately, Bayer Leverkusen, they are yet to play their game. And they are currently sitting at 5th on the Bundesliga table. And for all of you who are listening to us, I think we need to turn our attention now to my co-commentator, Alex Sisto, who unfortunately, this is Alex Sisto's last game with us. Alex Sisto has been doing the Bundesliga commentary with us here at DW Africa since 2019. And he's been doing sports reporting for much, much, much longer than that. Alex, what game do you recall? It's one of the biggest games you'd say you've commented on.
Well, I like to think back to Germany against Sweden. That finished 4-4. That was in Berlin. That's a long time ago. That was in the World Cup qualifiers. Germany were 4-0 up and Sweden managed to come back and take a 4-4 draw. That was an amazing performance. In the Bundesliga, Michael, there have been so many good games and I've enjoyed every minute of it. And a big thank you to our African listeners for tuning in, and do carry on. The program, of course, continues, and we've got a good team here, and I'm sure the Bundesliga will be brought to you with a lot of success in the future. I wish you all the best, our listeners.
Thank you very much. We've also brought in our colleagues from the Portuguese department to say a few words to you, Alex.
Nothing special, that's just to say we will miss you, Alex. It's been a pleasure since before I came to Germany. I used to listen to you, and you have many fans in Africa, even countries like Guinea-Bissau. We speak Portuguese. It's pleasure for me sharing microphone with you. It's learning with you. I think it's consensus here. You are one of the best of this build. And we will keep everything we learn with you, and continue maybe to listen your broadcast, your matches, and they keep try to do the same. It's not going to be, of course, but it was today's hard day for us, especially for me, your fan, we said in Portuguese fan. So I want to say obrigado in Portuguese.
Obrigado. Thank you,
Thank you very
guys.
much. And
Very kind words. Thanks very much. It's obviously an emotional day for me too, but maybe we'll be back in very short spells here to give a few interviews maybe. But I've certainly enjoyed my spell here. And thank you too for the very nice words, for the very kind words.
Thank you, Stefan, also.
And yes, so Alex probably will be coming in intermittently, but in terms of Bundesliga commentary, Alex Sisto is hanging up the microphone. Alex, would
Absolutely,
you say?
hanging up the microphone, and the last 30 minutes of the program. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you very much. So it's been the Hamburg versus Frankfurt game, ended 1-1. That game has ended, and so has Alex's game commenting the Bundesliga here on DW Africa. From me here in the studio, thank you very much for listening. I did this with...
All the best, guys. All the best. And enjoy the AFCON, of course. Enjoy the AFCON.
DW, learning by ear. Listen up. Shape your future.
Hello and welcome again to Crime Fighters. We are on the 7th episode of our drama Words of Hate, Words of Peace. In the previous episode, President Kanda was forced to cancel his speech at Banku's funeral after opposition MPPP supporters hurled stones at him. Meanwhile, Chief Inspector Opande has stumbled on a major lead in his investigation after raiding the offices of the MPPP. The Tiribas initially remained calm. After all, they have the power and they run the country's economy. After the incident with the president, though, they've had enough. Let's join Tiribe Elder Nabola, June's boyfriend Willa, and other young Tiribe men at a secret location.
Tiribe youth, once you have sworn the oath of allegiance to your tribe, you will cease to be who you were. You'll become fearless, merciless warriors. Are you ready?
Yes, Elder Nabola. We are ready.
Elder Nabola, I have a question.
What? Questions right now? No.
All right, calm down, everyone.
No.
Calm down. What's your name, son?
Mlamba. Willa Mlamba.
Son of Mlamba. These ceremonies are not a place to ask questions, but I'm prepared to make an exception to the rule. What is your question?
Actually, I was just wondering, why do we have to take an oath to start attacking the Deremba? Why not just let the law enforcers handle this? You can't fight crime with crime. I'm not sure violence is the answer.
Oh, please, shut up. This guy's a coward.
That's enough.
You coward.
That's enough. Son of Mlamba, that's a good question and stupid question at the same time. Tell me this. Where were the law enforcers you are talking about during Banku's funeral when our president, this nation's elected leader, was dodging stones and rotten eggs?
They were there, Elder Nabola. Even General Chome was there. He's the one who whisked the president away.
Yes, he did. And you know what? 30 years ago, General Chome stood right where you are now and took the oath to defend the Tiribe. We Tiribe fear no one but our ancestors.
Yes. No fear.
No fear.
We fear no one.
If you have no further questions, we shall begin. Are you ready? Good. I want you all to pick up a handful of the soil beneath your feet. Now repeat after me. This is my father's land.
This is my father's land.
I will defend it with my life.
I will defend it with my life.
Our land, our tongue.
Our land, our tongue.
Now rub the soil on each other's heads as a sign of your commitment to defend all that is Tiribe. You are no longer boys. You are now Tiribe warriors.
Guard, please open Dumba's cell. I want to talk to him. Thank you. Hey, Dumba, get up. We have to talk.
Why are you treating me this way, Chief Inspector Pandey? You arrested me in front of my family like a common criminal. I am innocent.
Really? Innocent? Are you? What do you say to this? How do you explain these love letters between yourself and the late Banco Mutumba?
Where did you get those?
It doesn't matter where or how I got them. Just answer me. Were you two lovers? How long were you having an affair?
My private life is my private life. It has nothing to do with the case.
Oh. You want to play hardball, do you? Fine by me. Here's what I think happened. The two of you had a love affair for about 2 years. You even promoted her to deputy leader because of your feelings for her. But when you realized how popular she was becoming, you planned a way to get rid of her and shift the blame onto President Kanda. It was a brilliant plan that might even have worked if we hadn't found these letters. So now, tell me, who is the murderer and where can I find him?
I am innocent. I had nothing to do with Banco's death. I loved...
Go on. I'm listening.